This is the very latest B-segment saloon to arrive in Malaysia, and the largest at that. Say hello to the new MG5 with a 1.5 litre up front, a CVT gearbox in the middle, and an introductory price of just 86,900 ringgit. My name is AIMAN ABDULLAH, this is Malaysian Motoring, and this is our launch coverage of the new MG5. Now, under the bonnet, you will find a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine producing 114 horsepower and 150 Newton meters of torque. Now, that power is paired to an 8-speed CVT, what they're referring to as an iCVT, which then allows this vehicle to go from 0 to 100 in a pretty decent amount of time. 114 PS doesn't sound like a lot, but it is broadly in line with other 1.5 litre NA vehicles within this segment. It is worth noting that this car has the longest wheelbase of any B-segment saloon, making it also ever so slightly smaller than what you'd expect from a C-segment sedan. As a result, you should be able to find a little bit more space in here than you would in other B-segment competitors, particularly those competing in the sub 90,000 ringgit class. Now, the MG5's design is something that's being described as a fastback coupe-like thing, which is why it has such a pronounced rear end, but I'm afraid I'm getting ahead of myself. Up ahead, you'll find what they refer to as a 3D burning grille, which is crowned and crested, of course, with the MG badge right in the middle, which I think looks very distinctive indeed. This is also a nuclear yellow, a heritage color by MG, and it joins another bunch of myriad of colors available for this car, again to project a more distinctive, more bold design. You also get a set of full LED headlights up front, which I think really do set it off. And as you move further down the side, you get a set of 17-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Maxxis tires, which I think are in line with the performance available for this vehicle. Again, as we move further down, you get this chrome line which extends from the A pillar all the way down to the end of the C pillar, which I think again makes this car look very distinctive, and I do think that it does have a certain degree of athleticism to it. And of course, from this view, this is where you appreciate most of all that wheelbase, because it does mean that there should be more space in the cabin for passengers and things. And I promise you, this smoke is from a machine, not the car. Now, as you can see, that fastback coupe roofline resolves itself quite nicely at the rear, where you can find a few details in here which MG says nods to its sporting heritage. So you have this ducktail spoiler up here, you get a couple of exhaust tips down here, and of course you get a set of full LED 3D taillights. I'm not sure what the 3D part is about, but I do think that it does look pretty good. Now, behind this tailgate, you will find 401 litres of space, which is certainly large enough for a vehicle within the B segment, and it should be enough for most people who want to go balik kampung or take a long trip somewhere thereabouts. You will not find a spare tyre in here. Instead, you have a tyre inflator kit, which is no doubt in order to try and keep the weight down on this car. And of course, if you're going to fold the rear seats, it folds as a singular piece. Not unlike what you get on a PROTON Axia, but hey, at least it's better than no folding, right? And inside the MG5, that same sense or that personality of performance-oriented driver enthusiast type of feel continues, because you not only get this lovely red accents as well as this sort of honeycomb pattern that extends all the way onto the dash front as well as onto the air conditioning vents, but also the seats themselves repeat with, again, that same honeycomb pattern as well as the red accents remind me a little bit of the PROTON X50. But in any case, beyond that, this interior does look quite good. Up ahead, you've got a 10.25-inch central touchscreen, replete with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Up ahead, I've got a 7-inch digital TFT display for my instrument cluster, replete with more displays on either side to give you my temperature and my fuel economy, as well as my current fuel level, which is all quite good. Up ahead of me, you'll find a leather-wrapped steering wheel replete with perforations and red stitching, again to emphasize the sporty nature of this car. And there are lots of nice big tactile buttons, which is certainly very nice to find, especially as the industry moved towards more digitalized or, touch-sensitive buttons. So this is always very nice. That tactility also continues into the center console, where you find a lot of physical buttons here with a nice sort of positive action to them, which is exactly what you want to find in a car like this. And down here, you will find a very nice, very reassuring, very old school gear lever for the iCVT, which I like a lot. It's certainly better than those digital type affairs that you get in a lot of other cars. Now, in terms of driving position, I get an electric seat on the driver's side as well as a manual seat on the passenger side, which is fine for this price point. The steering wheel is adjustable for rake, but not for reach. And more importantly, being sat here, I think that it does kind of feed into that driver-focused cockpit. This screen, for example, is angled towards me. All of the design is as if to emphasize that the driver takes center stage in the new MG5. On top of that, all the materials in here are of a decent quality, at least everything that you can touch. There are some hard plastics about the place, but in terms of the texture, at least, it makes it look interesting more than anything else. On top of that, you also get a sunroof as standard, which is always nice to have, and it does mean that you get a little bit more light into this otherwise dark cabin. Now, despite that fastback-like roofline, I actually have a pretty decent amount of headroom, but it's actually the legroom that is most notable in the new MG5, because again, this car's wheelbase of about 2,680 millimeters means that I have a good amount of knee room and a decent amount of headroom, as I mentioned earlier, and these seat benches do not have to be artificially shortened to create that illusion of space. On top of that, with the front seat set in my driving position, I also have space to tuck my feet in underneath the seat in front of me, so it is quite easy for me to get comfortable. This is certainly suitable for 2 adults in the rear or 3 in a pinch. Now, in terms of overall practicality, I have very large bins here, as well as a decently sized bin down here. There is a cubby hole underneath the center console, as well as a single rear aircon vent. Strange choice. As well as a USB-A port. There are pockets behind the seats, and there is no center armrest. That was a reflex action. I genuinely thought there was one. Now, talking about practicality, the rear seats do fold, but they fold as a single bench, which means that if you do need more practicality in this car, well, you have to choose things or people. Now, in terms of active safety, at the introductory price of 87,000 ringgit, the MG5 is decently specified because you get things like lane departure warning, lane change assist, blind spot detection, rear collision warning, and rear cross traffic alert as standard. Although it is worth pointing out that this car does not come with autonomous emergency braking or adaptive cruise control of any variety, but it does come with passive cruise control, so I suppose that is some positive. On top of that, all cars come as standard with a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, as well as a 7-year unlimited mileage warranty for the powertrain specifically, which means that buying an MG means buying with confidence. Now, the official retail price is 93,900 ringgit, but in order to celebrate MG Centenary, there is going to be an introductory package for this car, lowering the price to just 86,900 ringgit. There is no limit on the number of vehicles that will be receiving this price, and MG assures that there will be more promotions available later, and so this price should be something that should get you into showrooms. Let us know what you think about the new MG5. Do you think that this is something that will sway you from something like a Toyota Vios or a Honda City? Let us know in the comment section below. In any case, that concludes our coverage of the launch of the new MG5. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon to be notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can join our new WhatsApp channel. All the links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.